Okay, it looks like we're ready to get started again. We've had a really interesting and challenging and informative workshop to date, Chris and Pauline. So we're really looking forward to your presentation today as part of the What Does STEM Look Like in Schools session in this workshop. So we've got 2 more sessions now before we go into breakout room discussions, 1 room with each presenter. So I'm going to go straight to Chris Harte and Pauline Suvi to talk about Project WASH W. Many of you might know that Chris has been a key designer of the PASS learning program since 2019. He designed the Project WASH W challenge as our second online project in 2020. And many of you may also know Pauline Suvi from Aiyura National High School, where she's an absolute champion science teacher. And Pauline, I'm hoping that our connection stays strong so that we can hear from you in this session today. So over to you, Chris and Pauline. Looking forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay, hello everyone. I'm delighted to be working with Pauline on this presentation. We're going to just share screens with you so we can share some visuals and a little bit of a video as well. This is a really short presentation with a lot of complex kind of thinking behind it, but we're going to get into it really quickly. WASH W was obviously a priority around water, sanitation, hygiene, and well-being. And when we pivoted to a hybrid digital program last year, and that kind of priority became even more real in our schools in PNG and in Australia, we decided to build this project. So the project itself was a design thinking project, but really bringing in authentically STEM in an authentic context. So I was privileged to be able to design the project. I didn't deliver it. It was wonderful, amazing people like Pauline and her colleagues who delivered this project with the students in a brilliant way. But just in the first few minutes, I'm just going to give the context around the thinking underlying the design of the project. We're then going to watch a little bit of video around the project in action. And then Pauline is going to kind of finish off with some thoughts around the outcomes that we've seen. So I know that Kirsty talked to you a little bit around transdisciplinarity during her presentation. I do want to just reiterate that when we designed this presentation, when we designed this project, we took a really, truly transdisciplinary lens. And by that, I mean that it wasn't just subjects working in parallel. So science, technology, engineering, mathematics working in parallel. They were genuinely coming together at a point of need to create real change. So that was a really important piece for us, that we didn't design initially from what's all of the mathematics, what is all of the engineering, what is all of the science and the technology that the students need. We actually started with an authentic question. And then we looked at, well, what is the in-time learning? So what STEM skills do the students need in order to tackle this question? I think we're sharing all of the slides, so obviously all of that detail will be there for you. We aim to bring together STEM knowledge, which is obviously really important and comes very much from the curriculum, mindsets, which maybe are reflected in the curriculum, but don't always become enacted. So what does it feel like for a student to genuinely think like an engineer, to genuinely look at a challenge from a scientist's point of view? So not just using the knowledge, but also actually the mindset and adopting that mindset. We also looked at the different skills that were necessary and also the different tools that students might need within a STEM context, and then use them in a meaningful context. So a real world problem. While COVID has been horrible and awful around the world, it has presented some incredible opportunities for young people to step up and to apply their knowledge and skills in a real world context. So we wanted to bring together this transdisciplinarity of STEM. We wanted to bring together creativity. And so what we did is we examined, okay, the social innovation. We're looking at social innovation as a driver, as the why. So in this case, the social innovation is around water, sanitation, health, and well-being. And so we really wanted a why to drive the learning. Why am I learning this? Why am I doing it? Because actually I'm having a positive impact on my community. We then looked at STEM X, and the reason that there's a little X on the end of STEM is because it is STEM plus some of the unknown things. So what we found is that indeed there were lots of STEM skills, but students would bring in their literacy and their English skills in terms of pitching and presenting. Some of them brought in their media production skills and their storyboarding skills and their narrative skills in creating videos. And, lots of things came in to really enrich that. So it was certainly STEM, incredibly STEM rich, but there was also that kind of little X factor there that the students brought to the project because it was an authentic project. So that's our what. So we've got the why of social innovation, the what of STEM X, but we needed to make sure there was a how. We couldn't just say to the students, oh, go and solve this problem. So we provided them with the design thinking framework, which we already worked with the teachers and students in 2019 on that framework and continued that work through 2020. So they had a how, they had a process. If you're not familiar with the design thinking process, it sits very closely to the scientific process. There's a lot in there that overlap, but it's very much human-centered. So we've got a document that we can share with you with a little bit more detail about design thinking. And the last thing that we wanted to make sure was in this project were the capabilities that we know are incredibly important for our young people. We don't just want them to be smart. We do want them to be smart, but we want them also to be able to communicate, collaborate, think critically, think creatively, display citizenship, both at a local and a global level, display character growth, improve digital literacy, and improve their intercultural understanding. So I think we actually probably through this project managed to hit all of those capabilities in some way, shape, or form. But that for us was a really important part of the growth of our students. Authentic challenge, an authentic process, and the development of their, not just their STEM knowledge, but also their capabilities. So our question was, how might we improve water, sanitation, health, and well-being for our community in the time of COVID-19? So as you can see, that question is quite vast. It could be interpreted in lots of different ways, and it was interpreted in lots of different ways. And what that allowed us to do was to say, well, actually, our students, our young people are bringing their STEM skills and their capabilities to a meaningful challenge for themselves. So there was definitely a lot of just-in-time learning. So students having to learn, how do I do this? How do I build this thing? So having to develop an engineering understanding, or what's the mathematics behind R naught of a virus? So we looked at the reproductive factor of a virus to figure out how quickly it could spread. So we gave the students this design process. And again, we're going to give you a link to a document which has a lot more kind of information on this in case you haven't come across the process. But it really was about empathy. So understanding the context and the challenge, definition, narrowing down to a question that we're going to tackle, and then coming up with lots of great ideas, prototyping and building in a classic kind of scientific and engineering approach, and testing to come up with a solution. So what we're going to do is, I've talked now far too long. I'm actually going to jump on to show you a video of the students in action, which is just a wonderful thing to see. And then we're going to pass to Pauline.
Through Project Watch W, schools participating in the PNGAus Partnership Secondary Schools initiative have created local solutions to real-world problems in the time of COVID-19. Teams from 14 schools use design thinking principles to innovate solutions around clean water, sanitation, hygiene, and well-being.
So my name is Paul Reyes. I'm Program Coordinator at WaterAid Australia, and I work really close with WaterAid PNG. When we go into schools where we build hand washing facilities and toilets, we always ask students and staff what they think of them, of the designs that we propose. So being involved in the project has been very exciting to see the local solutions that the teams have come up with.
The project was split into sections for each part of the design thinking process, including empathy interviews, definition of the problems, ideation of solutions, and finally prototyping and testing the preferred solutions.
We started by empathizing with our school's situation, and that is mainly clean drinking water and awareness since we are in a rural setting.
Students from Aiyura National High School collaborated with St. Paul's School in Queensland to develop a water purification system powered by a wind turbine.
The definition, we have come up with a question: how might we engage the Pasam National community to dispose our rubbish in a more environment-friendly manner?
At Pasam National High School, the students have tackled the issue of hygiene by creating an improved dump site and constructing a new rubbish incinerator. Bundaberg State High School in Queensland has considered the well-being of students during COVID lockdowns.
Our students felt like we needed to create a bit of an awareness campaign of the challenges that COVID is contributing. And so they came up with the concept of starting a pen pal idea where students could communicate with a number of schools that are participating in the project.
The team at Port Moresby National High School also focused on student well-being.
So we came up with this question, the how might we question, while adapting to COVID-19 measures, improve our mental well-being and focus in school. We chose a study group which we saw that it would be more effective in helping the student body as a whole.
Cherrybrook Technology High School in New South Wales conducted scientific experiments with a range of filtration techniques to determine the safest method of producing drinking water. Tests conducted by Kerrivut National High School students have shown promising results from a water filtration system made of recycled plastic bottles, charcoal, and sand. St. Gabriel's Technical Secondary School has solved a water availability problem by designing a hand washing station complete with its own water storage facility.
Because this project that concern our school hygiene, one of the problems is proper taps in the school. We don't have that much tap in the school, so it is hard for the student to maintain their hygiene.
To solve this problem, the Mount Hagen students designed a system for providing water to their science and home economics labs. Sogari National High School's BioShade project produces a cleaner river system and improves student well-being by creating shade screens from plastic rubbish dumped by floodwaters.
In our design thinking, the biggest challenges that we faced were the flooding of the river systems. So we're turning the rubbish into BioShade so it like covers the classroom areas and it keeps it a bit cool.
Wawi National High School explored solutions for water conservation and pest control.
How might we question we developed is how might we create bed bugs in the dormitories as well as the teachers' houses. We collect samples of plants for testing. We produce an insecticide that could possibly remove with the help of bottles collected from the waste management team.
Hurlstone Agricultural High School students created a range of hygiene and water solutions.
Introducing the Waddle. The Waddle is a portable hand washing device allowing its users to effectively wash their hands with the same convenience as hand sanitizers.
So basically our solution is called the Hydro Bag, and it's basically a bag with the ability to filter and store water.
Gumini Secondary School developed an infrastructure master plan to improve water supply to the entire school.
Using the design thinking processes, we have empathized and identified people who will benefit, and those are teacher and teacher's family and the students.
The team at Mountain Creek State High School surveyed staff and students to identify the most concerning COVID-19 issues and use this data in creative ways to communicate COVID-safe messages.
We came up with a solution to create comic strips, one looking at the social distancing in the tuck shop line because it is huge at our school, sanitation in our classrooms and washing hands. We're going to be advertising them in the bathrooms on the back of the stores.
It's been really incredibly impressive to see these innovative designs. A lot of these designs can be scaled up and implemented in other schools. And for me personally, it was a really great learning experience.
Okay, so we hope you enjoyed that video, and that video is available if you want to see that again. I'm just going to try and get out of it without starting it again. Sorry. Get out of it. Here we go. So I'm going to pass over to Pauline if Pauline's ready. just to talk a little bit about some of the outcomes. And then just to finish off, we've got a quote from one of our school teachers. So Pauline, are you all good? If you just I think you're still muted there, Pauline.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and hello, everyone. First of all, it's a privilege to be working with Chris. Very creative and boost to the teachers when it comes to looking at project-based learning. And that's one of the things when we were doing the WASH project, some of the problems or the challenges that we faced was motivation. We really needed motivation from the leaders, the team leaders, and we needed a motivation from our school leaders as well to motivate us to do the challenge. And we saw that when we were working together in a teamwork, we sort of helped motivate each other to take that challenge. And that was one thing we learned about collaborating. We could do so many things if only we collaborate or work together and face challenges together. And that was one thing that we were able to do in this project. And also we saw that the project help us to build on a platform on project-based learning, which is important to deliver STEM. And that was one thing that I sort of helped me to be where I am today, facing with current changes in the education to do with delivering STEM. I'm currently the teacher in charge of STEM in Aiyura, and I'm pleased to say that I'm able to carry this responsibility because I was able to do such project, and that sort of helped me. And that's also we were able to apply to what is happening in the world, like COVID-19. And we did some changes around the school based on the projects that we were doing. We had a bit of a setback because of students that were moving out of the school. The grade 12s had to leave, and we had teachers that were moving around. But basically, we just had to have the passion and resilience to carry out the projects that we were doing. So one of the main things that we use, like what Chris said, was the process called design thinking. And we saw that we could apply in any of the challenges, not only while working on the WASH project, but in any challenge anywhere, whether it be in the classroom, even personal challenges, we're able to apply design thinking. And that was one thing that I saw that really helped us. Be wearing another person's shoe or wearing someone's shoe and empathizing and coming up with solution and working together and giving opportunities for another person to share their view and what they think. That was what that we had to learn. And that was one thing that really helped us. And for me personally, it sort of helped me, and I progress a lot as a teacher and as a leader in the community. So currently, our question is, where do we go from here? What are some of the things we could do to our project? If it is dormant, whether we kill it or resurrect it, or what do we build on from here? So having STEM currently in the School of Excellence, that is one of the things that is helping us to work on, that will help us to work on our project, to continue where if we have left off or if we need to build on from there. So thank you very much. This is all from me, and I'm really glad to be given the opportunity to speak on behalf of all the teachers who are, especially the 2019 teachers, POPC teachers. Thank you.
So we'll in the sake of time, Kathy, we won't run this little video, but there's a wonderful quote there which we can leave you with. And again, I just want to say it's always my pleasure to design these things, but it's people like Pauline and her colleagues who actually do the real work of putting it into place with students and come up with those amazing ideas and videos. So thank you very much to Pauline and all of her colleagues. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks very much, Chris and Pauline. Just really brilliant work that all of the Papua New Guinean schools and Australian schools have done together on this project, and showing great ability to be problem solvers, creative people, inventors, all sorts of things. So thank you very much, Pauline and Chris, for giving us an insight into Project WASH W.